You ready? You're on.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Folks, you're in for a real treat. This speaker comes to us with higher innovation. Rob Moore is funny, high energy. You're going to get some information that only he can share. It's time to get it on. Let's give a huge round of applause for the Rob Moore.
All right. That was an okay round of applause. But I just woke up extra early this morning. I blow dried my hair, combed it real nice and pretty, and put on my best Sunday clothes. So I know y'all could do better than that. So here's what we're going to do. We'll have Andrea reintroduce me. But I just want you to just say the last part, because we're going to do this thing right, okay?
Sure.
And then what I want you folks to do, once Andrea calls me, I want you to get up out of your seat, get up, make as much noise as you possibly can, to the point where people will be able to hear you next door. And then I want you folks to bring me up here right, and we're going to have a whole bunch of fun. You folks want to have fun?
Yeah, that's good.
Do you folks want to have fun? Yes or yes?
Yes.
All right, let's go.
Let's make some crazy noise for the Rob Moore.
Yeah, Rob Moore! There you go, buddy.
Now that's what I'm talking about. Clap your hands, everybody. Now everybody clap your hands. Come on. I said clap your hands, everybody. Now everybody clap your hands. Now everybody say make money, money, make money, money, money.
Make money, money, make money.
I said make money, money, make money, money, money.
Make money, money, make money, money.
Everybody go, oh, 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 oh.
Oh,
Oh, oh, oh, oh, oh.
oh, oh.
Now everybody clap your hands. Come on, y'all. All right, check this out. Now everybody, repeat after me. If it's to happen for me. Everybody repeat after me. If it's to happen for me.
If it's to happen for me.
It's up to only me. So I must be as present and unique as I can possibly be. So I choose to be the best me that I know I can be. I'm a leader. I take control of my life. I'm the creator of my future. And now is my time to make it shine. Everybody take a look at the person real close to you. Give them a high five. And like my book says, I want you to tell them, I show up, step out, and shine. I'm going to give you an opportunity to make up for that one. Take a look at the person close to you. Give them a high five. And like my book says, tell them, I show up, step out, and shine.
Show up, step up, and shine.
Nice job. If you believe that, make some noise, y'all. Come on. Make some noise. Woo! Yeah, you folks thought you were just going to be able to just sit here and listen. You didn't know I was going to put you to work. Folks, I was raised by some wonderful people in my life that taught me at a very early age that anytime anybody ever does anything nice for you, to make sure that you tell them thank you. There's a person in this room that I would like to recognize and say thank you to. Andrea is a phenomenal lady, and she's responsible for me being here right now, and I really, really appreciate it. So what I want to do is make sure that we give Andrea a huge round of applause for making this whole thing happen. There's another individual by the name of Mike Keneally. Keneally?
I think it's Keneally.
Keneally, who was actually the first initial contact of expressing interest in bringing me here. And unfortunately, he's not here right now, but once again, I want to congratulate and thank Mike for making this happen as well. So once again, I know Mike's not here, but wherever he is, let's just make sure we give him a huge round of applause too. Folks, I remember it like it was yesterday. It was June 25th, 1995, the day of my high school graduation. Now, how many people besides me ever been to a high school graduation before? Come on, show me the whole armpit. Now, how many people besides me ever seen a high school before? Fantastic. Well, I remember it, my name was called, and I remember walking across the stage. I got that same round of applause that you folks just gave me, and as I approached the principal, I remember him handing me my diploma, shaking his hand, and then I remember going off the stage, back to my seat. It was somewhere around here. And I went back there to sit to watch the rest of my fellow classmates get their diplomas as well. But then it happened. I saw something going on right up here on the stage, right over here, that I know nobody else in the audience was paying any special attention to. There were about 10 or so students that got us to sit on the stage during the entire ceremony, while the rest of us, people like me, had to sit out there where you folks are sitting. Now, at the time, I didn't understand why this was so. But a couple things that I did know was that these were all pretty smart students. Matter of fact, they were the smartest students in the class. And number two, they represented a very small portion of the class. I'm talking less than 10%. But when the time came for them to get their diplomas after we got ours, and they called out the first student's name, who had a grade point average of not less than a 90%, oh, I knew exactly why we had to sit out there and they got to sit up here. And I started to feel a little disappointed with what I accomplished in school up until that point. But then things got a lot worse for me, but a lot better for them, because as they continued to call out names, the grades, they just got higher and higher. I heard a 99.3, I heard a 99.7, and I thought to myself, how in the world could these grades be possible? But then I heard something that I thought was impossible. You see, there was one young lady left to be called, and obviously she was going to be the valedictorian, but that wasn't the special thing. You see, they called out her grade point average, and you're not going to believe it, folks. You're not going to believe what it was. It was a 100%. A 100%. That means she got a 100 on every quiz, every test, every project, and every exam in order to get that grade. And that these students up on this stage, oh, they had to work extremely hard in order to create those kinds of results. But you see, folks, you don't understand why they were giving it 100%, I was over here giving it 50%. While I was just trying to fit in with the crowd, these students were proud to be a part of a different crowd. While I was just trying to get through high school, these students were trying to get into the next school. And at this moment, this event for me became a reality check, because I knew at that moment that I could have done a whole lot better than I actually did. And this is when I learned the first point that I want to share with you folks. You know, you already heard me introduce show up, step out, and shine. And my first point is show up. And that's when I learned about what showing up is all about. You see, I heard a quote by a gentleman by the name of Woody Allen. You know, he's no longer alive today, but he was a famous musician, comedian, actor, you name it, he did it. And a famous quote that he's known for is saying that 80% is showing up. And that's cool. But I've taken it to a whole nother level. You see, I believe that simply showing up is not enough. You see, you got to be present mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, not just physically. You see, folks, this is the key point. You know, I don't know if anybody's taking notes, but this is the one note that you would definitely want to write down. You see, when you become focused in your life and engaged in your life, you're on your way to becoming successful in your life. Now, folks, I don't expect you to really hear what I'm saying until you know me. So what I want to do is I want to take you back to what I came from. I grew up in a very small city, 3.5 hours from here, called Poughkeepsie, and it's in New York. And I grew up in a very, very small city, and I would have to say that it was a very safe city. The only reason why I say it was safe was because I lived directly across the street from a jail, which gave me one advantage over most people. You see, most people, they get a little bit of drama. All they can do is really pick up the phone and call the police. You see, me, on the other hand, I could just walk across the street. Both of my parents, they had really good jobs. My mom, she worked at IBM. My dad worked at Castle Point Hospital. And, the only reason why I knew back then that we had to be doing pretty good was because I got most of the things that I wanted as a kid most of the time. It was the best of times, but it was also the worst of times. The day my mom came home from work one morning, very depressed, and I didn't know why. I didn't know why. But at first, I thought that maybe she was just having a bad day. How many people in here besides me ever had a bad day before? Just a few? Half the room? Okay, you guys this must be the good side and the bad side. Well, I'm not going to go there, Anya. I'm not going to go there. Well, what happened was that bad day, that it turned into a bad week, and then a bad month, and then a bad several months. And I still didn't know why, and I never asked my mom why. Until I was woken up in the middle of the night one night by an argument that my parents were having about money. They were having some major disagreements about what bills should be paid and what bills shouldn't. And then that argument got so bad that the subject of divorce came up. And when I thought things couldn't get any worse that night, I found out that my mom had been laid off from her job at IBM. And that's why things were the way they were. And things got very stressful, obviously, for the next several months, even the next couple of years, because my mom was the breadwinner. Now, in school, things got a little bit better. Not. In school, I was a very quiet and shy kid. I was so quiet to the point that people questioned whether or not I could really talk or not. It was so bad that I remember I had the opportunity to date one of the hottest and most popular girls in school, and I blew it. Because since I did so little talking in school, I didn't have a clue what to say. It was so bad that the chances of me getting a girlfriend back then were like the chances of the United States having a black president before Obama. I just didn't think it was going to happen. But I was smart. And there were many, many, many times in school that I remember knowing the answers to the questions being asked in class. But I never quite raised my hand because I didn't want to put myself in a position for one of my friends to be able to call me a nerd. Anybody ever been in a situation like that where you didn't want to give your all because you were so worried about what other people would say? How many people besides me ever been through that before? I would think that would be everybody because it's only happened to me over 1,010 times. You see, in school, my biggest goal, my biggest dream, my big why was to just be liked by everybody and be able to fit in with the crowd. Now, I know you folks don't have to say anything. I had some real high expectations, didn't I? What's going on, man? So that's how school was for me. And if you fast forward back to where I was sitting in that auditorium after I realized that I haven't been showing up all that time, all these things that I shared with you just kept running through my mind over and over and over again. And I could barely focus on what was going on. But I did realize that I didn't spend enough time in school preparing myself for a better future. Now, you see, once you realize that you make some mistakes, usually people will correct themselves and then try to fix it. But instead, for me, I decided to ignore it and not do anything about it. And I graduated. I ended up spending the next 12 months just hanging out with my friends, partying all night, and just going to party after party after party until one night I was on my way home from a real big party. I mean, one party I had the most fun at. It was like 2:30 in the morning. And I'm on my way home and the car is acting up. And I didn't think I was going to make it home. But I barely made it home. Barely made it. And as soon as I pulled in my driveway at my parents' house, my car completely died. Completely died. And I became really, really stressed out because I knew that it was going to cost a lot of money to fix it. I mean, you ever been in a situation where it's going to cost a lot of money to correct the problem? I know I have. And I didn't have the money. I had less than $100 in my bank account. And I remember being so stressed out and so frustrated with myself that 30 seconds later, I found myself sitting in my room on my bed, just about to cry, wondering why my life was falling apart. And I clearly remember, just sitting on my bed and saying to myself, I don't want to live like this anymore. And that next morning, I met with my mom, and I was a very hard-headed child, so I never listened to anything my mom said, anything my dad said, really nothing anybody said. And I decided that it was time to do some things differently. And I wanted to listen to what my mom had to say. And I didn't go to college because my mom and my dad didn't have the money. Obviously, they didn't. My mom was laid off. And I was talking to her about where I was. And I was very frustrated. And at first, I went to that conversation to get some advice, but I ended up yelling at my mom and saying, Mom, you know what? I'm in this doggone mess because of you. If I would have went to college, none of this would have ever happened. None of this would have ever happened. And she didn't even get upset. She just looked at me almost like she wanted to shed a tear. And she just said to me, Rob, you know I don't have the money. What do you expect me to do? And I went from being extremely upset to feeling this small. And I didn't do any more talking after that. And my mom saw that I was hurt, and she came to my assistance, and she gave me some ideas of some things that I could do to turn my life around. And she was talking about the fact that, Rob, if you're so passionate about going to college, and you really think college is going to be the thing that's going to turn your life around, then why don't you just go? So I was like, cool, I'm going to do that. But, all right, she's telling me to go, so I'm like, are you going to pay for that? She said, hell no. That's exactly what she said. And I was a little confused. But then she started to explain to me some things that I could do. She said, you know what? You don't have to go to a very high-end school. You don't have to go take a full semester of classes. You can just take one at a time. You can just go to Dutchess Community College. Start small and work your way up. And before she even finished, I finally just got it. I got it. And I realized that I was in this mess because of me. It didn't have nothing to do with my parents. It didn't have anything to do with my teachers. It didn't have anything to do with my friends. It was all about me. I was messing up. So the only way I was going to get out this mess is unless I change this mess. And I didn't even let her finish. And my life changed literally overnight. And I got really engaged in my life, and I started to do things differently. I was already working a part-time job at Price Chopper Supermarkets. We got Price Choppers around here. Everybody know about Price Chopper? It's a supermarket, you do? We got a few out here, I guess, not over here. But I was working at Price Choppers part-time for like a year. I ended up getting a full-time temporary job at, guess what? IBM. I was working third shift, and then I started to take 2 classes at Dutchess Community College. Now, obviously, this is a lot of stuff. You know, I'm working part-time, about 30 hours a week, 40 hours overnight, and then I'm taking 2 classes. It was a lot. And my life was starting to change, but what happened was it wasn't changing fast enough for me, because I was looking at this, at the future, and I was like, wait a minute. It's going to take me about 15 to 20 years to get a degree in something if I keep going the route that I'm going. So I decided to make some different choices. And I applied that technique that I learned about showing up, how being present and being focused just helps you recognize so many different opportunities. And I recognized the opportunity that was smack dab in the face all of the time. One day I was at Price Chopper working, and I'm sitting around just observing what's going on around me. And I'm noticing all these people moving up. I mean, I'm seeing people going to other stores and higher jobs. I'm seeing people get promoted within the store. I'm seeing people get promoted into the corporate office. And I'm looking at some of these people. I'm like looking at them, and I'm like, wait a minute. If these people can do it, I know I can do it too. Now, how many people know somebody that's doing better than them, making more money than them, or is way further along than you are? Anybody know anybody like that? And some of them, you look at them and you're like, that person's no smarter than me. Why ain't I doing as good? It's crazy. It's crazy. So I was like, all right, how in the world can I make this happen? You know, I was so dedicated to making that happen that I ended up quitting IBM. I quit IBM. I even quit going to college because once I saw the quality of those people making all that money and doing that well, I was like, I know I can do better. I know I can do better. So I got really focused. I got really engaged, and I gave it everything I have. In less than 2 months, I got a full-time job at Price Chopper. I became an assistant seafood manager without going through any training program. All because of the fact that I showed up. I gave it everything I have. I actually self-trained myself. We have these policy and procedure manuals that are like this thick. And nobody asked me. I read that thing 2 times because that's how bad I wanted to turn my life around. That's how bad I wanted to make a change. Now, I want you to think about what I'm saying here, and I want you to think about how this applies to what you're going through right now. You know, ask yourself some questions. You know, are you doing as good as you want to? Or are you doing as good as you can do? Because believe it or not, we only use less than 10% of our brains. And you know what I just learned like 2 weeks ago? I learned that from a guy by the name of T. Harv Eker, really cool guy. You might want to look him up. He said that the Einsteins, I mean the most smartest people on the planet, only use 15% of their brains. That is amazing. That is amazing. So I ended up going through, I was assistant seafood manager, and I kept applying this show up tip. And while I was in the process of that, I learned about my second point, which is step out. Step out is all about being unique. It's all about not following the crowd. It's about being willing to do what other people aren't willing to do. Like, nobody's willing, well, I wouldn't say nobody. There's not a lot of people that are willing to read a policy and procedure manual this thick. A lot of people aren't willing to spend all of their free time studying on how to make themselves a better person. A lot of people aren't willing to give up a vacation because they can have a better life for themselves. Because I hate to tell you, I'm going to break it to you flat out. 90% of the people in this world are not where they want to be. But on the other hand, there's 10% that are just like living life on the edge. And they're getting everything that they want. Everything is happening for them. Life is going exactly the way that they want. And it's all because they're willing to be different. They're willing to not do what most people do. This is a key point. This is huge. You know, there's a gentleman by the name of George Bernard Shaw. George Bernard Shaw. This guy is a Nobel Prize winner. He ain't alive no more either. A long time ago, he was very famous for this quote. He said that people are always blaming their circumstances for what they are. I don't believe in circumstances. The people who get on in this world are the people who get up and look for the circumstances they want, and if they can't find them, make them. Folks, you got to step out. Everybody say with me, step out.
Step out.
Say it like you mean it. Step out.
Step out.
All right, that's what I'm talking about. Folks, here's the key point. If you want something different, you have to become someone different in order to get something different. I want you folks to say that with me. If I want something different,
If I want something different,
if I want something different,
I want something different,
I have to become someone different. I have to become someone different in order to get something different. In order to get something different. Come on. In order to get something different. All right. Give somebody a high five. Folks, I have one more point that I want to share with you, and then I'm going to go into a little bit of bonus stuff for you. And that one is shine. Everybody say shine.
shine.
Folks, doing this show up technique and doing this step out technique consistently in my life put me in a position to become one of the top seafood managers in the chain during my times of being in that position. And I actually got so good at my job that I was starting to get bored. So I was looking for things to do. So what I started to do was I was taking all the people that worked for me and I was training them to be seafood managers. I was training them to know everything that I knew. You know, I worked on all their weaknesses. I builded on their strengths. I wanted to make them the best people that they could possibly be. And what happened with that is that my department ran so well that I really didn't need to be there anymore. They were really paying me for nothing, really. So what I ended up doing was, now that I had things running so well, I had a lot of free time on my hands. And our company is very infamous for personal development. they do a lot of stuff. They pay for your college if you want to go. They give you a lot of technical classes to help you work on your personal development. Plus, they also give you a lot of stuff to help you learn the skills that you need in whatever job that you're doing at Price Chopper. And I tell you, I took advantage of it. I took everything that they offered. And I remember one day, I got ahead of myself. Let me back up real quick. Remember I told you how I was really getting bored at what I was doing. So what I was doing was starting to look for the next best thing that I can get into because I wanted a challenge. I didn't know what it was going to be. I didn't know. But I kept looking. And we would have these job postings come in every single week. And I was the first person to check them. And I mean, for months, there was never anything in there that interests me. Until one day, I saw something new. A position I've never even seen before. And it was for, the company just came out with this program. It was called the Retail Management Academy. And what they would do with this program is they would teach high-level managers that were already working for the company. They would take them, if they got the job, and they would train them to become store managers in 5 years. I saw this, and I was like, this is it. And then I looked at the salary on that, and I was like, this is definitely it. I put in for this job. This was the first time this job was ever offered, and there was like over 80 applicants that put in for this. And they didn't even realize they were going to get so many people for this. So it actually took like 6 months for them to figure out who was going to get selected. They ended up taking 6 months to make a decision, and they were only going to hire 4 people. So one week, I'm going up to Schenectady where we have this training center. And I decided to take 2 classes in 1 week. I've never done this before. I worked on a Monday, and then I was going to take a Tuesday class, a Wednesday class, take off Thursday and Friday, work Saturday and Sunday. So I'm walking in on Tuesday morning, and there's an office right here, and there's another office here. But this room is where they do the training. Now here is a guy that I really admire, and he's responsible for developing this whole program. His name is Doug. And we would always talk. And he saw me walking by, and he's like, Rob, get your butt in here. So he pulls me in, and he's like, Rob, I just want to be the first to let you know that you're in for that position I put in. I was like, freaking cool. So he told me that he talked to the seafood vice president, let him know when I was going to be leaving, yada, yada, yada. So I go back in the training class. I'm in there until lunchtime. We come into another room, we eat, and then everybody goes outside and just hangs out. So I'm out there just talking and mingling to the other people that are in the class. And all of a sudden, a Jeep pulls up right in front of the building, and it's just sitting there. And then I'm like, everybody's looking, and I'm looking at this guy, and he points to me. He goes, so I'm like, what in the world is this? I don't even live here. So as I start to walk up, I notice who it was. It was the seafood vice president. So I'm like, I don't know what this is all about. So he congratulates me on getting a position. And, he's like, really appreciate, what you've done for seafood. And, I hate to lose you, but hey, this is a good thing for the seafood department because we never had, a store manager who used to be a seafood manager get a position like this. So it's really cool. So I'm like, cool, awesome. So the whole day goes on about its business, right? Now I'm in day 2 of the class. And it's not even lunchtime yet, and I'm sitting in class learning about the class. I'm all into it and everything. And then all of a sudden my cell phone vibrates. And I'm like, I pull it out, I look, and I'm like, all right, it's my job, directly from the seafood department. Now, they hardly ever call me, so I'm like, all right, no big deal. I'll give them a call as soon as I'm done. So I'm sitting there, and as soon as I hit the thing to silence it, freaking rings again. I'm like, okay, what the world? Turn it off again, rings again. Turn it off again, rings again. And I'm like, all right, this is 4 doggone times. Something's going on. So I get up, excuse myself from the class, and I call. And I'm like, and then Mike answers the phone. He's the full-timer, you know, that's working there. Now, he's the one running the shop for that day. Now, not only was I not there for those 2 days, my assistant seafood manager was not there that day. He was off too. We've never been off on the same day. But our people were running the place so well, we let them go for it. So Mike answers the phone. He's like, hey, Rob, how you doing? What's going on, Mike? Who called me? He's like, I called you. All right, what's going on? You know I'm in class. Well, the reason I'm calling you is because I heard a rumor that Mike Canali, the seafood vice president, is coming here. Would you happen to know anything about that? No, but it's kind of funny that you say that because I just talked to him yesterday. You know, he pulled up, he found out I got the job. Oh, by the way, yeah, I did get promoted. We'll talk about that later. And he didn't say anything about coming down. If he was coming down, he would have told me, definitely. Well, I hate to tell you, but I already called all the other seafood departments that are around, and they said they're not even coming to any of these stores. They said they're coming to our store. Man, let me call you back and find out what's going on. So I called all these departments, and they all say the exact same thing Mike says. I heard he's coming, but he's not coming here. He's going to your store. Now I'm starting to get a little nervous. I'm like, okay. The reason I'm nervous is because Mike Canali is the freaking seafood vice president. And when he goes to a store, he expects excellence. And if things are not right, I mean, one little itsy-bitsy thing is not correct. I mean, like a little ice being like a little bit brown. I mean, maybe a piece of fish not smelling quite right. He freaking has a fit. Ask me how I know. I remember him being on me back in my early career days and threatening me about whether I was going to be working with the company or not. So I already experienced what this guy's all about. So I'm just a tad bit nervous. So I call Mike back. Hey, Mike, what's going on? So what'd you find out? I found out that you're right. I think he's coming. Okay, so what do you want me to do? Well, you know everything has to be perfect because if not, he's going to flip. Oh, you don't have to worry about that. Everything's going to be fine. All right, well, listen, I've been on the phone so long. Lunch is over now. I got to get back to class. I'll call you back. So I go back to class. I'm having a fit. I'm a nervous wreck. I'm sitting in class. You know, I sit down, trying to listen to what the teacher's saying. I get up. I'm about to walk out, but I'm like, no, let me go through this. Sitting there again. My phone's not ringing at all. So I end up going out the room, and then I call because I can't concentrate. I'm so worried about whether I'm going to have a job or not, whether I just got promoted yesterday. Am I going to have the shortest career before I even started? So I call back. Hey, Mike, did he get there yet? Yeah, he did. Well, how is he? Man, he's great. Everything's fine. Now, Mike says that about everything. So I'm not really believing him. So I'm like, you sure? Well, he's standing right next to me. You want to talk to him? And I'm just, Rob, are you there? Yeah, put him on. So Mike Canali comes on the phone. Mike Canali, how may I help you? Mike Canali, how may I help you? Hey, this is Rob Moore. What's going on, Mike? I want to talk to you about your department. Okay, okay. Rob, this is the best piece of work I have ever seen. Congratulations. I am extremely happy with what you have done with this department, and even more important, what you have done with your people, because you're not even here. Do you even have an assistant? Because if you do, he ain't here neither. So I'm just sitting there on the phone just like, yeah, I know everything was going to be all right. You see, folks, what this story is about is that this is what happens when you're your best self. This is what happens when you expect excellence. You see, you don't have to have a lot of fear. You don't have to worry about getting fired. You don't have to worry about getting bad grades. You want to just have excellence. Expect more from yourself than anybody else expects from you. You know, this reminds me of a quote by a gentleman by the name of Mark Twain. You know, the guy who wrote the classic novels Tom Sawyer and Huckleberry Finn. He said that 20 years from now, you'll be more disappointed by the things that you didn't do than by the ones that you did do. So throw off the bowlines, sail away from the safe harbor, catch the trade winds in your sail, explore, dream, and discover. Folks, this is the key point. This is one that you definitely want to remember. If you want to do your best, live your best, and have the best, you want to be your best and better. If you want to do your best, live your best, and have the best, you want to be your best and better. Folks, this message is key. You see, I want to congratulate you for being here in college. You see, college is going to give you the skill set that you need to be successful in your life. But you're going to need something else to complement that skill set. You need the mindset. And Show Up, Step Out, and Shine is a mindset that will help you achieve every single goal that you ever set for yourself. It's a mindset that will help you achieve extraordinary results with ordinary circumstances. It's a system that's going to help you perform better no matter where you are. Anybody familiar with McDonald's? I will hope so. Well, listen, how many McDonald's have you ever seen close down? Anybody ever seen a McDonald's close down before? I think I've only seen maybe one in my whole entire life. This is why McDonald's is so successful. This is why you don't see McDonald's close down. Because McDonald's has a system. A system that's so successful that anybody in the world can run a McDonald's. All they have to do is follow directions. That's it. My son is 12 and he can run a McDonald's. That's how good their system is. So you need a system for your mindset, and you have a system by going to college for your skill set. Now, folks, there's one secret inside my book. I believe it's on page 57. Yep, it's on page 57 that separates the winners from the losers more than anything else. And you know what? I'm going to demonstrate that for you right now. Today, I only share with you about 10% of the content that's in this book, meaning that there is 90% more information that you're not even going to get to hear today. And guess what? I'm going to give it away. Who would like this? Anybody? Nobody wants it?
Thank you. I was like, I'll speak with you guys.
I'll ask one more time. Does anybody want it? Anybody? Anybody want it? I hear some, I see this and I hear some in the head. I'm like, yeah, I want it. And I hear another hand. Who wants it? Anybody? Come on. Who wants it? Who wants it? If you want a free book that has some value, that's going to give you the mindset to help you perform better no matter where you are in your life, who wants it? Who wants it? Who wants it? Anybody?
Can I take it?
Yes, you can. Give her a round of applause, please. I have a question for everybody. What's your name?
Jennifer.
Jennifer? Congratulations, Jennifer. Everybody say, hey, Jennifer.
Hey, Jennifer.
Everybody say, hey, Jennifer.
Hey, Jennifer.
Now, how many people, when Jennifer got up and started to come towards the front of the room, realized that the name of the game is you got to get up and go get it? Anybody realize that? So what kept you in your seat? What did you tell yourself in your head that made you stay in your seat? You don't have to tell me. But whatever it was that you were thinking in your head that prevented you from coming up here and taking action to get some free value in your life is the same exact self-talk that stops most people from getting the things that they want out of life. You have to stop that. You got to start taking action today. Now, you can sit there today, look at that book, and say to yourself, I don't even like to read. I don't need it. I can't afford it. I don't have time to read. And that's the exact same thing that kept you in your seat right now. And if you don't change that behavior, 2 years from now, you're not going to have anything more in your life that you want because you can't keep up the same behavior expecting to get different results. You see, the behavior that you're currently doing will only get you the results that you're currently getting. So the behavior that I'm recommending that you highly think about taking action on today is investing in your own personal growth. And I can help you do that at the end of this presentation because I actually have some other books if anybody wants to invest in themselves. Now, how many of you here learned something new that you didn't know before you came here or were reminded of something that's going to support you in becoming a leader who will shine? Would you all just raise your hands? Because I know it's true. Look around. Keep them up. Look around. Show me that whole armpit. Now, that's a lot of learning going on. Give yourself a round of applause. Folks, I love what I do. And what makes this possible is people just like you who know other people that can benefit from a message like this. So if you can all just, before you leave, stop by, see me, pick up a flyer, business card, anything you like, and just simply give it to that person that can benefit from this message. Or give it to somebody that has an audience that can benefit from a message like this. I would really, really appreciate that. Now give yourself another round of applause. Now, how many people besides me ever need some motivation? How many people besides me know somebody that needs some motivation right now? Listen, the truth of the matter is we all do. And I put something together to help you with that on a daily basis for no investment at all. And I want to give it to you for free. If you have a cell phone, you don't have to do it right now, but you can if you want to. I want you to text the word SHINE to 50500. Text the word SHINE to 50500, and I'm going to send you some really cool stuff, a really cool quick message instantly to give you some instructions on how you can get this really cool thing that I want to give to you that's going to help you and the other people that you know with some motivation. And for you technically challenged people that don't want to text, if you're interested, you can just pass this around, and if you're interested, just put your first name and your email on here so that I can give you some motivational stuff that is going to keep you uplifted and help you work on your mindset. Now, a study was conducted of over 300 world-class leaders. I'm talking about people like Martin Luther King, Mahatma Gandhi, Mother Teresa, and Helen Keller. And what they found out is that 75% of them were either raised in poverty, were abused as children, or had some major physical impairment. But they understood that it's not what happens to them. It's how they handle what happens to them that is going to make the difference. Think about that. It's not what happens to you. It's how you handle the things that happen to you that are going to make the difference. And right now, it's your time and it's your season. Folks, I want this system to be the last piece in the puzzle that you need to be able to achieve whatever it is that you want to achieve. Bless you.
Thank you.
The very last piece. Because it doesn't matter where you are in your life right now, you can be a leader who will shine. It doesn't matter how many mistakes you made in your life, you can be a leader who will shine. It doesn't matter how many times you failed on a daily basis. You can be a leader who will shine. Legendary basketball player Michael Jordan said this: "I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 300 games. 26 times I was trusted to take the game-winning shot and missed. I failed over and over and over again in my life. And that's why I succeed." Folks, and that's why you will succeed. Folks, I didn't tell you my story because it made me feel good. I didn't tell you my story because I enjoyed it. I told you my story because I know that I'm not the only one who doubted himself. I know I'm not the only one who had to make a comeback. You know, that reminds me of a quote by a guy, his name is Willie Jolly. You know, he's another phenomenal speaker. He also sings, and he's a very popular media personality. He said that a setback is a setup for a comeback. A setback is a setup for a comeback. That's one that you definitely want to write down. You see, folks, what you don't know about me, no, let me tell you what you do know about me. Let's summary. What you know about me is that I spent most of my life trying to fit in with the crowd in school, and then I let a lot of the things in my life determine what direction my life was going to go in, and so much more. So much that I don't even have time to share with you today. But what you don't know about me is that at the age of 8, I almost lost my sister, who was 5 at the time, due to a very serious truck accident. That at the age of 13, I've lost my grandmother, who I saw every single day of my life since I came out of my mom's womb. She was like a second mother to me. That at the age of 23, I lost a brother due to pneumonia. And that for the majority of my life, I didn't get along with my dad. Because for some strange reason, we just could not connect. And it wasn't until just a couple years ago that we were finally able to get over that hump. Now, folks, as you can see, I had countless opportunities to use as excuses for not becoming successful. But instead, I chose to show up, step out, and shine. Folks, I want you to remember this. Whatever it is that you want to do, if it's to happen for you, it is up to only you. And if you want that thing bad enough, to go out and fight for it, to work day and night for it, to give up all your time, your peace, and your sleep for it. If all that you dream and scheme is about it, and life seems useless and worthless without it, if you gladly sweat for it and fret for it and plan for it and lose all your terror of the opposition for it, if you simply go after that thing that you want with all of your capacity, strength and sagacity, faith, hope and confidence, and stern pertinacity, if neither cold, poverty, famine, nor growth, sickness, nor pain of body and brain can keep you from that thing that you want, if dogged and grim you beseech and beset it, with the help of God, you will get it. And you got to get it right while you got the time. And this is the time to make it shine. Hey, I'm Rob Moore. Show up, step out, and shine. Thank you very much.
Thank you.